today I played round number 4 of Reykjavik Open, and I thought it was going to be an easy match. I was playing against this guy rated 1600 who's been playing chess for a very long time and has actually peaked in rating in the past. So his rating has declined a bit, making me think that, okay, this is at least not an underrated kid. This is someone who's played chess for long and, you know, who's probably not at his peak now. So I was playing with the white pieces and I came into the match thinking this is going to be good. This is going to be, I mean, I'm not going to say easy, but it's not going to be the most difficult chess game ever. I was wrong. Never, ever, ever think this when you're playing chess, ever. This is like the one piece of advice I can give you. So I came in there and he was so nice. Actually, he had taken a picture with me the first day and I think he even posted on Facebook. He was like, so excited to play against Anna, gonna do my best today or something, which was really fun and he was super nice. And the game went like this. So I started with d4, he went d6, c4, g6, and I was expecting a king's Indian. So far everything was good. But then after I went here, he went e5, and I knew then that he had prepared because he typically doesn't play this. So he was also blitzing out all of these moves extremely quickly, looking very confident. So I was like, okay, he has prepared a lot for this game. I realized it. So I started feeling a little bit nervous and I pushed my pawn and he went for this move, f5. And now I actually haven't really played against this like ever. I actually don't think I've had this set up with f5 in this position. And at first I thought this looked very strange because I thought, okay, I'll take the pawn. If he takes with the bishop, I can simply develop my bishop. And if he takes with the pawn, well, then I go queen h5 check and now he cannot castle anymore. What I did not realize is that sometimes not castling is okay. Which, please don't take this piece of advice. Please castle in your games. Like, you should castle. But he just went king f8, and I was like, okay, so what now? How do I attack him now? And he seemed very confident, so I knew this probably has to be some engine line that he has looked at. And actually here, the best thing for me to do is just to go g3 and develop, but I decided to go bishop g5, which is a move that my mom did not like. Because now when I go bishop g5, I'm threatening his queen, but he's simply able to get his knight out, and he's threatening my queen. And now, after he went here, I thought, I shouldn't go here. My queen is probably going to get stuck. I should probably retreat, go back home, and just make sure that my queen is alive. But what did I do? I decided to go queen h4 anyways because I didn't think that it was that bad. But this is also actually a mistake. So my opening started to go south hit. I mean, it just started going down and down. And so he went h6, kicking away with my bishop. He was playing this perfectly. I mean, he knew what to do, obviously. I retreated my bishop, and now in this position, he went knight a6, developing. I decided to long castle because I wanted to attack his king. He brought the knight up to c5, and in this position, I made a mistake. I should here go f3, and let me tell you, this game is full of mistakes. Like, the longer you watch this, the more mistakes you're gonna see. I should go f3 here just to simply prepare g4 because as you can see in this position, both of my knight and my bishop, they are right now very, very, very weak. So, or no, they're like very weak because they're very undeveloped. So I haven't developed these two pieces. So right now, I need to think about how to get these out, and it's really hard to come up with an idea. So the best way for me is actually to just go f3 and then try to prepare g4. That is the best way for me to break his very strong center and get my pieces out, which is very important in this position. Now, I had spent quite a lot of time thinking here because I just couldn't come up how to get my pieces out, and I ended up going f4. And this move, I knew if it was bad, it was really bad because when he pushes, this pawn is going to become a protected passed pawn. So this pawn is going to become very strong, and it's going to be really important for me that I don't allow this pawn to become, you know, the winner of the game. So it's going to be important for me to block the squares in front of it. So here, I went bishop e3, and he did this really good move, queen e7. And in this position, you may say, okay, he's just developing his queen, but there's actually a little trick behind. Guys, I literally just finished my game. I'm like forgetting words right now. Like, it's 10 p.m. here in Iceland. I just finished my game. That's why it's like so dark outside and everything. Like, my brain is just like, you know, it feels like a frog. No, it feels like a, what is? Like a sponge, that's the word. It feels like a sponge right now. So the idea behind queen e7 is that he's threatening to go knight takes d5. He's threatening to pick up this pawn, and whilst he's picking up this pawn, he's threatening my queen, and if I take his queen, he's gonna capture back with the knight. So I cannot take here because then the queen would be hanging. So this is what his threat is. And so I thought here for a very long time because I said, okay, I need to somehow stop this threat, but I don't want to move my queen here because then he's going to attack me. I didn't know where to move my queen. I didn't want to move my bishop. So I just didn't really know what to do. So I ended up going bishop e2. And the idea of this was that I thought I was stopping knight takes d5, but actually I'm not stopping it. This is his best move. If he does this, he has a fantastic position. It's like minus 1.25, which means that, you know, his position is as good as if he had more than an extra pawn than me. So knight takes here. The idea would be I would have to exchange here. This is the only move. And my plan was to go for something like takes. And I'm just going to show you this very quickly because this was something that I thought about for a very long time. And here I thought after c6, defending the pawn, I thought I'd be able to go maybe knight, I thought I might be able to go rook d8 check, and then after king f7. You know, I was like thinking about all of this, and then like my final like, you know, verdict or like whatever it is that I was thinking here was that this is very unclear. Like I had no idea what was going on. I thought maybe there might be rook d6. I wasn't really sure what was going on here, but this becomes really crazy and I shouldn't like sacrifice a pawn for no reason. So actually he could have just simply captured this pawn, and I was so happy when he did not. When he just moved this bishop out, I was like, thank you. Thank you for not getting into all of that because it would have been crazy. So we got his bishop out and I went h3 with simply the idea that now he cannot take here anymore because after captures, and I capture here, this bishop is going to be falling. So actually his bishop here is not doing so good. So h3, he went h5 because he didn't want me to go g4, which is the idea of h3. I think h5 might be a little bit unnecessary, but I mean, it's a good move. I retreated with my queen, and now he went b6, which is also a little slow, but still good. I mean, in this position, he's definitely better because my pieces just don't have any good squares. And this knight on g1 is disastrous. It's such a bad knight. Like, you should never treat your knight like this. So here I was starting to get desperate. I didn't know what I needed to do with my position. I just hated it. I didn't know how to get this knight out because if I went here, then he was going to bring his knight up there. And if I took here, then he would have knight d3 check at some point. I didn't want to give the square for the knight, so I couldn't get rid of this bishop. But, you know, if I went bishop f1, I went knight here. Once again, he would have this. I also didn't want to get rid of this bishop, so I wasn't sure what to do. So I ended up going knight b5 with the simple idea that I wanted to get rid of his light squared bishop so that maybe at some point I'd be able to take a journey of h4, knight here, and then knight there, or something like that. I just wanted to make sure that he did not control these squares. I thought this would be like my only counterplay, to try to make this knight good. So I started the journey of making this knight good. So bishop takes b5, c takes. He had to pretty much take, but actually this move wasn't so good. My mom didn't like it either. I haven't watched my mom's live commentary, but honestly, like, I'm fully ready to hear my mom roasting me for the whole game. But yeah, so I'm kidding. Mom is nice. She wouldn't roast me, not on purpose at least. So he went rook e8, and this move is actually a little bit strange. And it's not strange, but here he could simply go a6 actually, and just try to open up the rook, which probably would be his better idea. But he went rook e8 with the idea that he wanted to go knight d3, and after takes and takes, he wanted to put pressure on this bishop. Now, I got really scared about this. I thought his move rook e8 was really good, and I got really scared about him bringing the knight here, forcing me to capture and opening up this file for the queen and the rook, because my king could become very weak now that my rook is not connected, and I have no way of getting my knight out. So I ended up actually capturing on c5, and in this position actually it's totally fine for me to go bishop c4. Something like this would have been okay, but I just thought that this was really scary. Like I was really scared of this. Queen f3. I was really scared of this. It seemed really scary to me. I would have to do something like this and allow the checks. I don't know. I didn't like it, but the engine thinks it's the best continuation. But instead, I ended up taking this knight because I just hated that knight. I just wanted to get rid of it. And then after takes was crucial for me to block the pawn. I didn't want this pawn to push. So it was really important for the queen to be right in front of the pawn so that he cannot get this move and then bring a knight up to the square. That is actually the main issue with pushing the pawn, that it opens up this e4 square for the knight. So I wanted to bring up the queen to force the knight to move in case he wanted to bring this bishop in, which is the only actual like really scary thing right now, is if he would bring his bishop here, which he did, but then he has to move the knight, and then when he pushes this pawn, the knight cannot come up here. So he moved the knight, and I went h4. I finally started my plan of bringing the knight out. and he went bishop d4. I was actually considering sacrificing my rook here at some point, but I don't think it would have been good. The idea would be to have my queen threatening both this and this pawn and try to create some weaknesses, but I was too scared to sacrifice. I don't think when you're playing someone lower rated that you should sacrifice, because then you really get like material advantage. I think is the easiest kind of advantage to convert. If you're playing against someone that's lower rated and it's just a very tactical position where the engine thinks your opponent is better, you might still swindle. Like you might still somehow make moves that maybe they don't understand and complicate things and end up winning the game. But if you're down material, it's very easy for the opponent to win, in my opinion. So I didn't want to make it so easy. So I remained with all my pieces. I went queen b3. I'm not sure, maybe here, queen, well, I didn't want to go queen h3 because I didn't want to occupy this square for the knight. So queen b3, queen g7, here he's threatening my pawn in g2. And probably here I just need to get my knight out and sacrifice the pawn, but I didn't want to give anything. I was very greedy, so I went g3, and I think actually here bishop f2 would have been really good to try to just simply pick up the pawn. But I think here he actually started a path of the wrong idea. He was starting to get low on time, and actually my opponent hadn't gone up from the table a single time. Like, I'd like to go up and just kind of take a walk just to kind of let my mind start thinking about other things so that I can come back and focus. He did not walk up a single time. He did not drink like any water or anything. He didn't have any food. Like, I always need to drink coffee and water whilst I'm playing chess because otherwise I get really tired. So I think that at this point he started maybe getting a little bit tired and his time was also running down. So he ended up going knight b6, and I realized that he's probably going for my king. And I was happy about that because I just didn't want him to go for my pawns and stuff. So here I was really happy when I was able to get the knight up to h3. My mom was happy too. I was finally able to get the knight up to h3. I saw that this square would probably be available for my knight, and all of a sudden I didn't think that I was so much worse. Also, I think I might have missed the point, but I think just a couple moves ago, I forgot to tell you guys, he offered me a draw. Maybe it was here. I can't remember the exact point where he offered me a draw, but somewhere around this position where he was better, he offered me a draw. And even though I was worse objectively in that position, I said no because I wanted to let the game go. I wanted to either win or lose, but I didn't want to feel like I chickened out and took a draw. So I thought, you know what, if he's better in this position, let him win. Like, let him just, win the game. So I said no, and I wanted to keep the game going, which I think was the right decision. I hate taking draws just when anything could happen in the game. I don't know. I feel like chess is too fun, and I'm like too passionate about chess to just like take a draw. Like, it really gives me like an itch in my stomach. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels wrong. I really regret it. So I didn't take a draw. So he went c4, and now all of a sudden I was really happy when he went for c4. Because I saw that his idea was that he wanted to exchange to capture my pawn on b2, but actually after I go king c2, my king is actually quite safe here. My king is safe, there's no checks, and now I can bring in my knight, and finally the ideas of getting rid of the bishop very much earlier on, now they made sense. Now I finally had a clear path for this knight, which made me really happy. So in this position, he had to go bishop a3 and try to sort of checkmate me, even though I would probably go rook b1, etc. But he needed to try to create some sort of counterplay with that. Or maybe even go bishop f6 to stop this move, but instead he did this mistake, rook b8, and this is now a blunder. Because after he goes there, I can simply bring my knight up to g5, and there's no consequences. This is just really good. I'm threatening a fork on e6 with the king and the queen, and so he moved his queen to d7, and now I just captured the bishop. I mean, there was not much more he could do. Even if he moved the king somewhere, let's say he would go king here, I would still have this move knight e6, and after this and rook b1, the bishop is simply trapped. I am simply winning a full bishop, and there's nothing he can do after bishop a3. Wait, am I lying to you? Well, here I can go queen takes c7. Okay, actually, maybe I'm lying to you, but this is a completely winning position. Like, this bishop cannot really go anywhere. In my brain, actually, during the game, like, I thought this was trapped. I realized now that it can go to c5. So, guys, my brain, like I said, it's like a sponge right now. I actually thought it was trapped, but whatever. It's a super winning position. I'm threatening the rook. My knight is fantastically placed. This bishop sucks. I'll be able to take this pawn. I'll be able to maybe promote. This is completely winning for me. So he decided to sacrifice the bishop. He went queen d7. I took his bishop, and I went for rook takes b5. Now, he had to try to get some counterplay, but now I'm completely winning because I'm a piece up. So I went king a1, and he went queen g7 check, and I actually thought that queen d4 was the only legal move, like that's how tired I was. Rook d4 is a much better move because I'm one, threatening his rook, but I'm also threatening to go for the fork here on e6 with the queen. So it's a much better move, but I went queen d4, and in this position, he was so happy, like his whole face lit up, and he went rook b1 check, I think thinking that he was winning the queen, because if I capture with the rook, my queen is hanging, but I can simply capture it with the king, and now he just lost the rook, and in this position, he resigned. So I ended up winning the game. It was a crazy comeback because I had a really bad position, but I also remember seeing some of his games when I was preparing against him, and I saw that sometimes he would play a fantastic game throughout the whole game, but then at some point at the end, when he was low on time, he would blunder a rook or something, and the same thing happened here. So that was also why I wanted to keep going. So I am right now on 2 out of 4 points, and tomorrow a crazy thing is happening. I am playing against Eric Rosen. You know, streamer, YouTuber, Eric Rosen. I'm sure many of you follow him. I am playing my first ever over-the-board classical competitive chess game against him, like in a FIDE chess tournament like this. Like, it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. So I'm playing against him tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Iceland time, 11 p.m. Central European time. I'll be making the recap after that game. There's 2 rounds tomorrow, so I'm playing 2 rounds tomorrow, probably. So you know, it's gonna be a fully packed day, but I'll film the recaps there in between at some point. But I'm really excited. So guys, wish me luck for tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed today's crazy roller coaster game. I'm so happy that I won. And thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you all in the next recap. Bye!